There's a thing when you're duck hunting, you never go anywhere without your gun.
Yeah.
You don't go pee, you don't go play with the dog, you don't do anything unless you got your gun in your hand. Generally, that's when they will show up, when you're doing something else.
Hunting has been an important pastime for generations in Nova Scotia, and so today on NSK9, we're going to find out about that and go hunting with my friend Bloom.
I'm originally from northern Quebec. I grew up hunting since I was about 6, 7 years old. And there was always a water dog of some sort around. And I've always had water dogs, but I really didn't understand what they were capable of until I started training with good trainers and seeing what a dog can actually do. And it's phenomenal. Very patient, and that's a big part of the training, is getting them steady. The last thing you want is a dog that jumps and runs when the birds are coming in, or even after you shoot, because lots of times the ducks aren't dead. There's a cripple on the water, and if your dog is running out there, you can't even really shoot the bird because you may hit the dog. So you need a dog that sits and stays until you send it. Where you got me this morning, are you? She's been trained for hunting. She's got 2 passes for Master Hunters, CKC Master Hunter Certificate. She needs 5 to get a Master Hunter title. Her father is a National Master Hunter.
What type of dog is she?
It's a Chesapeake Bay Retriever.
Okay.
Bred. It's one of the only North American breeds that can trace their roots right back to where they started from. So they were originally bred in Chesapeake Bay in Maryland, in the States. And they were bred by market hunters for hunting. They're a very tough dog. And they were originally bred not only for retrieving, but for guarding as well. So they come with a reputation of being a gruff one-person dog. Are you a one-person dog? Yeah. You'll go with anybody that's got a treat. Go with anybody that's got a treat.
Lori's passion is duck hunting, but upland hunting for pheasants, woodcock, and other birds is where Barbara Degg's passion lies. She helps people train their dogs to become valuable hunting companions.
So now he really has no idea where
He has no idea where I put them, so he's hunting, he's in and out. And so you can see him picking up scent a little bit there.
So what's happening here where he's just stopped?
So he's on point, he's on odor. His job is to stay there until I would have a shotgun there. So a pointing dog, their job is to stay there completely until the hunter gets there and not move the bird. My job is to flush it if we were to go out. If you come in here, you will feel how tight he is. Like every muscle is tight.
Oh, wow.
And the only thing he's worried about is that bird. So we've got a bird in there, and the world could end, and he'll sit here on point all day.
So he's just waiting to make sure the bird doesn't take off
his job
somewhere.
is to just stay there until I release him. So
Okay.
with a pointing dog, you have all the time in the world to get your gun up, get ready, and shoot it because they're holding that bird there.
All right.
Most birds won't fly with the pressure of a dog.
What is actually in here? I mean, because it's not like
It's not out in the open here. So what I have in here that he's working right now, because this is a training scenario, is we have a pen-raised checker partridge. So they're
Okay.
not native.
So it's actually a bird.
It's actually a bird. There's a live bird in there that he's actually pointing. It's contained so that it can't fly away. It's actually a bird that is not allowed to be released without a permit by Department of Lands and Forests, but they do make great, great training birds.
Training is valuable to have a good hunt, but for responsible hunters, training is about much more. Respect for wildlife and keeping everyone safe.
That's the point of training these guys really well, is that it's safety and ethics. If we had guns going all over the place, we'll A, have wounded birds that will not be picked up, and B, you may not be going home with your best friend.
Yeah. That
So,
makes sense.
so safety, that's really the main
And this
reason that
takes
we
a lot of
train them.
training,
It
too,
takes a
to-
lot of training, and it starts with the breeder.
Yeah.
So his breeder introduced him to birds before he even came here with me.
Training and getting them to stay still is probably the most difficult part. And again, it all depends on what level of training you want to run at.
Are people spending the time to train their dogs now as well?
No. There's certain people that will spend the time to train their dogs, but most won't. Most get basic obedience training, and that's about it. That I see anyway.
But it certainly seems that you and the dog get more out of it. if
Oh,
it's
you
trained.
do. You create quite a bond while you're training. So you're working with your dog, you're with your dog 3-4 hours every day, kind of.
If you're going to go hunting with your dogs, you have to become knowledgeable yourself.
Yeah.
So we often use him target for teaching new hunters about hunting with the dogs and hunting in purpose. So we often take him out because he's well established, he knows his job, so it gives them a chance so you don't have new dog and new hunter at the same time. We have an experienced dog and a new hunter.
Because you do have to train the person as well.
You
don't
have to train the person as well. So he does a lot of work with youth, demos in teaching hunting. So youth and women are some of the fastest growing demographics for hunting. So and it's because of the dogs.
I can get up in the morning, I can move around the house, I can make coffee, I can do whatever I want. As soon as I take my travel mug out, she's stuck to my leg. Wherever I go, she goes.
Dogs do get Lyme disease. And in fact, Nova Scotia has the highest incidence in canine Lyme disease in Canada. So we found that 1 in 6 dogs tested are positive for Lyme disease. But it's a very preventable disease, and the main thing to know is that it's carried by the deer tick. So the best way to prevent it is just to have your dog on a good tick preventative, and as an extra protection, get them vaccinated yearly to prevent it.
They say dogs reflect their owners. Both of my dogs love coffee. I'd leave the lab in the truck with a T-bone steak and not worry about it. If I leave her there with a half a cup of Timmy's, it's gone. Cap is sitting over in the passenger seat. The coffee is gone and the cup is chewed up. Get rid of the evidence.
How'd you get her name?
It was, the comics, the Opus comics.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So it was a toss-up between Opus and Bloom. My wife picked the name, and she picked Bloom. Boom.
A lot of people just sort of go out with their dogs.
Oh yeah, you just go out.
Which is fine.
Which
But
is
it's a
fine.
different thing altogether. isn't it?
It's you can shoot a duck, throw a rock, dog will go get the duck, bring it back. And really that's all you need. But once you start training and you understand blind retrieves, or again, multiple retrieves, being able to call them off one bird and send them for another bird, it becomes so much more fun. Like, no issue with me if I had a crippled duck that went over to the other shore, I could send her from here over there to pick that bird up. Even, there might even be 2 more lying on the water. I can take her off of those birds and send her where I want her to go. And that's all about picking up your cripples.
Okay.
Dead birds aren't going anywhere. Your cripple swimming away, that's the one you want your dog to go get. The natural tendency.
I guess even from a humane point of view. 'cause,
That's it. Right?
You know.
You don't want to lose them because once they get in the grass or hiding away, then they're harder to find. And the dog's natural tendency, because they've been trained to pick up birds, is to pick up the first bird they see.
Yeah, of course.
Get the bird, get back, get the praise.
So for training scenarios, we would set some birds out for the dogs once we know that they're established and they understand it, and we would start adding some pressure to them. So sometimes it would be a matter of working with a second dog. So a second dog adds a lot of pressure. The dogs actually have to honor
They're
another
competing.
dog's So the dog actually has to honor another dog's point. When they're puppies, we let them have fun with birds. So we teach them, the point is basically part of the prey drive of dogs. All dogs will point. Every single breed will point. It's part of that pounce right before, but with the pointing dogs it's a little bit more well established. And then we teach them that if they pressure those birds disappear. It's all about keeping the training and keeping the ethics so that we have a safe shot. So with a dog like this who's on point, it's safety first. So there's no chance of us, there's less chance of a wounded bird going missing if we're bringing meat home. We've got a dog who's sitting there holding the bird, and we have a chance to take our time to get a gun ready to take a safe shot. And his job, and so it's all about ethics at the end of the day. His job after the shot would be to go retrieve the bird, bring it to me. If it was a wounded bird, he would then carry on. If the bird was running, his job would be to track that bird down. Until I released him to go retrieve a bird, his job is to just stand steady.
Okay.
And he will stay here. I've seen dogs sit 15, 20 minutes on point with a bird in front of them
This is
like
like
that.
pheasant hunting and that
Pheasant
sort of...
hunting, woodcock hunting, partridge, grouse hunting. So that's what their job is to do. He picks up wind. He can't even see that bird.
Yeah.
He's all on
just
odor
knows
there.
it's that close.
He just knows it's there, and his job is, depending on how the air current is his job is to stop on point as soon as he smells bird. Okay. So he would be here if the wind was working perfect, differently. He could be as far back as there.
Okay.
And that gives a chance for wild birds aren't going to feel pressured. So wild bird, if the dog pressures them too much, will fly up. So with pointing dogs, the wild birds actually teach them a lot. If they're getting in there, the bird disappears and they don't get a chance
Is that
to
why
get
they're
a shot.
called pointers?
Yeah, that's where they're called
Oh,
pointers.
there you go. All right.
Pointers and setters. So pointers and setters point the birds out. The fleshing dogs, like the spaniels, will work a lot closer. So when we saw him going, he was working a lot further away. But the spaniels are actually supposed to work within gun range. So you have your gun ready at all times, and the spaniels are supposed to go in, flush the bird up, and sit as soon as the bird goes up and wait to be sent to retrieve it.
Training is hard work. It takes effort. But these dogs still have personalities of their own, which can lead to some amusing memories.
Yeah, we've had some funny stories. Dogs run away, dogs won't come back, dogs don't listen. Typical stuff. Dogs trying to bring back 2 birds at once. Dogs chasing cripples. Won't listen, won't come back, even though the duck is swimming out the harbor. You got to go get the boat to go get the duck and the dog. Oh yeah.
So I don't do a lot of waterfowl work, but he has learned how to retrieve ducks, and he was learning how to retrieve a wounded duck. The wounded duck went out, and how we simulated a wounded duck with a farm-raised bird, and we removed some of the flight feathers. So it's still safe, and we knew he had a well-established retrieve. We have no problem with him hurting a bird. So he went out, he was swimming after the duck dove, and instead of him waiting for the duck to come up, he actually dove right after the duck. The first time I'd ever seen it, scared the daylights out of me. I thought my dog was drowning. He actually dove after the duck to go get it. So he was, it's like, I'm gonna bring that up.
He's committed to this.
He's committed to this.
And I've got a yellow lab as well, so.
Oh, okay.
And another Chesapeake.
Oh, really?
My old,
How do you decide which one to go out with?
the lab doesn't like water.
Well, yeah, that answers that one.
That answers that. Makes it pretty simple. She's a fully qualified master hunter as well, but she doesn't like water. She'll go, if you send her, she'll go, but she doesn't, it's not something she enjoys doing. She doesn't like, call her the diva. Doesn't like getting her feet wet. But she loves upland hunting.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Pheasant, so this one doesn't really bother with pheasants a lot. She'll look for them and play with them, but the lab just quivers.
So is that normal that like dogs have their preference of type of hunting? I guess people do too, right?
People do too. I would imagine that the lab doesn't like water, so if you don't like water and you actually like looking for birds,
Yeah.
the natural place to be would be upland, I guess.
So night vision in dogs, or what we call scotoptic vision, is actually quite advanced and developed, and that is because the retina in the eye is composed of a large number of rods. Dogs also contain a really, really neat structure called a tapetum. The tapetum is located in the back of the retina, and it acts sort of like a mirror to reflect and capture more light photons. Owners actually ask us why their dog's eyes appear to glow in the dark, and it's actually the tapetum that they're seeing reflecting light.
First things you want to consider is what type of hunting you're going to be doing. So if you're going to be doing a variety like me, there's bunches of dogs that can do a variety of different work. Probably the most versatile is a lab. They can do just about anything. Chessies, like I said, are great duck dogs. They do upland, but that's not what they enjoy doing. If you enjoy upland hunting, then you're looking at a pointer or a springer or something in that line.
Okay.
So there are what they call versatile dogs, German short-hair pointer, wire-hair pointer. Those types of dogs are versatile dogs. They hunt just about everything with them. And if you're looking at a hunting dog, then you're probably going to want to go with a breeder that actually tests their dog in hunt tests. So you can see that the dog has the abilities to do the work that you want it to do. Now, there's no guarantee that your dog will do that, but at least there's a better chance that the abilities are there, the natural abilities are there.
Because you really do want a dog that's come from a hunting line, as opposed to just the breed
And that's it, right? So what one person might consider to be a great hunting dog, another person might consider to be mediocre at best.
All right.
So if you go with a breeder that actually tests their dogs, so a hunting test is not, the dogs don't compete against each other. They actually work against a standard. So there's a standard that the dog is expected to do in order to pass.
Okay.
So if your dog is passing a standard test, then standardized.
If I wanted to get a hunting dog
Yeah.
and learn this,
Yeah.
what should I do?
The first thing you have to figure out is, what do you want to hunt? So if you're hunting waterfowl, if you're hunting pheasant, if you're hunting grouse and woodcock, those are all different things.
This is a game for
This
dogs.
is a game for him. For him, he was born, bred, and raised on birds, and for him, this is his favorite time of year. For what makes him a good hunting dog, may or may not make him a good pet. He's a good pet for me, but if somebody wanted a dog that just slept all day, didn't want to get out,
Probably not target.
probably not Target.
A lot of the reputable breeders will have a waiting list that's may even be a couple years long.
Oh, really?
And
That long?
yeah, and they're very selective of what they're breeding. They're improving their lines or trying to improve their lines. So they'll take a dog that's got great barking ability, but may not handle as well, and they'll breed it with a dog that's great handling ability that may not mark as well. They'll try to get the best they can, right?
For all the hard work these canines put in, times have changed for hunting dogs. They're working dogs, sure, but this is also their game, and after the hunt, the comforts of home beckon.
He gets his outlet and we go running in the woods as much as we can. He's getting older, and so he doesn't go quite as much as he'd like, but it's his favorite thing.
You're a big sook, really. That's
He is
what
a
it
big
is, isn't it?
suck. He is a big suck, right? It's like big old hunting dog out there, and then he's a big suck the rest of the day. You know, yeah, and gone are the days of having them out in the, you know, having them out in the shed and you bring him out. He's a couch hog.
I think you spill more than you drink.
Those who are getting back into hunting, it's because they're doing something with their dog.
Biggest misconception? That it's easy to train a dog to hunt.
It takes a lot of work.
It takes a lot of work. You put in a lot of hours. For about every hour spent hunting, you spend 10 or 15 at least training.
Visit us online to tell us your dog stories for possible inclusion in future episodes. And don't forget to share photos of your canine friends on social media with the hashtag NSK9.
We're sitting there, just coming daylight, right? And I said, King, this is how we call ducks in northern Quebec. Here, ducky, 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 ducky. And about 25 dropped out over the woods into the hole, right? Bang, 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 picked them up. He goes, bet you can't do it again. Yeah, watch. Here, ducky, 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 another dozen. We laughed. Some mornings are like that. Other mornings you stand there all day, no ducks show up.
Next time on NSK9, we visit with Elder Dog, where they're finding homes for older dogs so they can enjoy their years in loving comfort.
We're a very unique organization. We're not a rescue, and we're not a primarily senior serving organization only. We work at the intersection of the human-animal bond, particularly for seniors and for senior people and senior dogs. And there is no other organization that works exactly that way. And so the need is certainly recognized across the country and elsewhere. And so I think that has led to our growth. I haven't encountered anyone, either in person or virtually, who has been introduced to Elder Dog, what we stand for, what we do, and not said, this is such a perfect organization.